From high school to a few years ago, all I really cared about was making more money, whether that be multiple six figures, having the big fancy title in my career field, the whole thing. Now, I just want enough to live how I want and to be able to support my family. And if you've ever felt like you're chasing money but still feeling unsatisfied, I feel this video is right up your alley, so stay tuned. So where I started, kind of getting a little kind of digging back into my early mindset. I used to think success meant a high paying career. You get what you get into a company, you build your way up, you climb up the corporate ladder, you make more money, more happiness, right? I personally don't see that these last few years in my life, at least. So just kind of wanted to dig a little further into that. Especially when I finished college back in 2021, I got into the tech sales space and wasn't really sold on the whole sales side of it, but I was always a little tech savvy. I was always kind of like the IT support guy at home, if the internet went out or something's not working, the printer's not printing, whatever the case may be. So I always enjoyed the tech space. And like I said, just getting out of college, I went into tech sales. And I'd say the first year and a half I was there, I was making really good money. Like some monthly paychecks come in 5, 6 grand, and right out of college, that was, maybe that doesn't sound like a lot to some people, but right out of college, that was definitely a pretty penny. So I mean, it was nice seeing that big paycheck. But on the flip side, tech sales and just sales in general, I know a lot of my sales guys will appreciate this. A lot of stress and pressure when it comes to sales, especially in like a newer company trying to kind of IPO. Um, yeah, wow, like quotas just went up every quarter. You could hit quota 3 quarters in a row, and you mess up just a little bit the fourth quarter of the year, and you're having to sit down with the boss, and he's like, hey, like what's going on? Like what happened? Like they'll really go after you if you mess up one time, but if you hit quota 3 times, 3 out of 4 times, hey, that doesn't matter. They pretty much get at you when that one time you failed. So keep that in mind for the sales guys out there. But yeah, kind of getting a little sidetracked there. But pretty much like the big paycheck definitely came with a lot of stress. So definitely keep that in mind as you chase that big paycheck in a normal corporate 9 to 5 type gig there. So I'd say what really triggered the change in my life, I guess, at some point I realized I wasn't really living the life I wanted, just kind of chasing the big title, the big fancy title in my career space. Um, I mean, while I made good money, I just didn't really feel free. I was really like craving more personal time, whether that be like more time, after work, whether it be gym or other personal things, dating, hanging out with friends, creating my own sort of content or personal projects, and just overall fulfillment, I'd say. Um, I really started asking myself, what do I actually want my day to day look like? Do I just want to work the 9 to 5, get off, go to the gym, go home, and enjoy my little couple of hours I have left of the night, and then I got to go to bed and do it all over again. That doesn't really sit with me well. These this past year or so, and I think with that it comes with a lot of guilt. Like if you're not chasing that title in the company that makes X amount of money, are you considered lazy? Are you settling? Like should you always just kind of be chasing that safe corporate job? I guess that kind of falls on you to ultimately decide your route in life. But for me, I just wasn't really wasn't really a fan of that route. So where am I now? This last year or so, last couple months, where I really kind of started digging into it. Now I really think of money as a tool, I don't need the most. I don't I don't require a whole bunch of knickknacks or toys. I don't really buy a lot for myself. I need enough to live how I want. And that can be different for everybody. Maybe one person likes to get they need the new iPhone every year, like whether or not they upgraded the camera a little bit or different color of the phone. They want that. They work hard for their money. They work for a living. If you want to go buy the new phone, go for it. Like I'm it pretty much falls on you what you decide to do with your money. And with that, I want to say, kind of to go back on the purpose and fulfillment side of it. I think I mentioned this in my last video. Starting to create YouTube videos, like these last 4 or 5 videos I've created, really brings a lot of purpose and fulfillment in my life. I think we're just designed to build things, to create things. So I was kind of feeling down in the dumps, kind of feeling guilty where if I had downtime, I wasn't doing anything, I felt guilty that I'm wasting my time. And that's kind of where YouTube came in, but I really dove deeper into that in my last video, so feel free to check that out. I really don't want to kind of repeat everything I had in that last video, but definitely check that video out if you want to kind of hear a little more about that and how creating just kind of gave me more purpose in my life. Um, and then, obviously, with the less money you make, your spending habits have to change a little bit, or they should if you want to be able to save and invest for your future. So, just kind of like a little ramble. I feel looking at money as a tool and not as the end all be all is the way, for me at least, how I plan on looking at it the rest of my life. Um, not working for the money, working to be able to get the certain amount of money that I can live off of, whether it be monthly, yearly, still have enough to invest heavily for my future and for my family. So I kind of want to ask the crowd, kind of get your guys' opinion. Feel free to drop it in the comments. Ask yourself: Are you chasing a number? More specifically, like when I mentioned number, that salary number. Are you chasing that salary or lifestyle? And kind of to dig into that a little bit. Are you just looking to make as much money as possible? Like, would you rather? Like, does that $150,000 just sound so much better to you than $130,000? Or is it because, oh, that extra 20,000 a year may get you that lifestyle that the 130,000 couldn't get? So it's kind of a catch-22, right? Obviously making more money allows you to do things, allows you to buy more things, invest more. But at the same time, as salaries increase, you might be on call a little more. You might have to always keep your work phone on you in case you get a call. Maybe the 40-hour work week turns into a 45 or 50-hour work week or even more. I've seen more as the salaries climb up. So I'm just kind of curious to get your guys' opinions on it. Um, at the end of the day, money makes the world go around. I completely understand that. But only in services that you value. To kind of dig a little bit into that, if you're a big TV watcher, obviously you're gonna probably want to get the subscriptions. Your Netflix, your Hulu, Amazon movies, whatever the case may be. But if you're not big into movies, you might just stick to YouTube. You might just watch YouTube. You may watch with ads, without ads, whatever the case may be. So kind of just determining what your spending habits are. Like if you like to spend a lot of money, unfortunately, it sounds like you have to make a little more about money. Uh, and then I feel it's not about giving up ambition to chase that bigger salary. I feel it's more about aligning kind of where you are in life and what amount of money you need to make you feel alive, to give you that freedom, to give you that choice in life. So kind of just a little rant video. I just kind of had this thought over the weekend and wanted to make a video on it. feel free to let me know if I completely rambled in this video, made entirely no sense. I would completely wouldn't take no offense to that by any means. But like I said, I love the engagement in the comments. Let me know if your mindset around money's changed over time, changed over the years. Are you still chasing that high salary? Does that number really just drive you in life, or have you, like, over the years as we're getting older, are you looking at it more? Well, a little lower salary would give me more free time in my life, would allow me to adventure into new experiences in life, whether it be like personal projects, side gigs, more time with the family, more time to date, whatever the case may be. Ultimately, drop in the comments, what matters more to you now. And it could be completely the same. I mean, you could feel the same way 5 years ago as you do now. So just let me know. And at the end of the day, if this really hits home to you, feel free to give the video a like and subscribe for more real talk like this. This is Lunch Table Vibes. I hope you have a good weekend. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.